A motion to approve the agenda for this meeting, January.
I'll motion again.
Emma, looking for a second?
I second it.
Second from Amelia. Is there anyone who disapproves? All right, awesome. We're gonna get started on our check-ins. Our first report is from Bryce as chair.
Hey, give me 1 sec. I'm calling somebody who was supposed to be on the meeting but isn't.
Okay.
Why is it-
Should we move on to Elaine?
Yeah, sure. And then I can go after Elaine.
Awesome. Elaine?
Okay, so over the weekend, me and my committee for the grant selection met and held interviews with 8 different applicants for the Stay 785 grant, and we interviewed all of them, which is great. And now we are just deciding on who will get how much money and then reporting back to the Topeka Community Foundation to have their final approval. I'll be meeting with Abby Price tomorrow morning to do that. But other than that, everything else is just moving really smoothly. We finally got the next big phase of our work done for the grant. And then going forward, once we have the final selection, we will notify them and then they will begin their projects, which is really exciting. And that's all for the grant. The only other thing is our financial planning series, and Sailor will talk about that.
Yes, so last week I sent a message to the financial planning series group chat, trying to kind of get the ball rolling again. And so far I haven't received any responses on that. So if anyone else is interested, please let me know. I could really use the help because I really can't get this all done by myself, but it's a lot of fun. And that's all I have.
All right, awesome.
I have a question. Did you have a question, Mark?
Yeah.
Sailor, we've just started putting together a lot of financial planning in our Jobs for Young Adults program. That is absolutely open to you guys to use. And I can tell you the Youth Project would love to help out with financial planning. And I've got lots of financial planners who are supporters of the Youth Project. Our board president sells for Thrivent. She's a financial planner. And so we can easily bring in some folks. I can also say the Junior League of Topeka has a very extensive financial planning curriculum that is designed specifically for youth. So could easily tie into some of that. I'm more than happy to have a conversation about how we can help add some resources to what you're trying to do.
Awesome. All right, is that it for Elaine?
Yeah, that's it. And thank you so much, Mark, for the information.
All right, back to you, Bryce, for chair report.
All right. Yeah, so member update. I wrote this really late at night and now I don't remember what that was supposed to be. Oh, Isabel Hernandez has decided to leave the Youth Commission. She got involved in some other groups and is also moving on to college. So she is now a part of Topeka. Ooh, what is it called? But another group in Topeka that's doing some really cool things. But I can check in on that for you. Thank you to everyone who's worked really hard this month. I do really appreciate it, especially those of you, Elaine, and those of you in her group chat who have been working really hard. All the exec team has been working hard. For Adrian and somebody else was also one of the fastest people to respond in the group chat. So I do really appreciate that. Really much. So thank you guys for keeping up the good work. I mentioned this a little bit before the meeting, but for those of you who weren't on the plan moving forward for the next few months, I am leaving in April. In the exec team, according to our bylaws, you can only stay in your position for 2 years, and then it's time for the next person to come in, so that way we can get some new ideas. So believe it or not, I've already been on the youth commission formally as chair for 2 years and planning it for 6 years. So I've been here for 2.5 years. So it is time for me to move on to Forge with Kelly, and then also get involved with some stuff at Washburn. So, but I'm looking forward to that. And you guys don't have anything to worry about. Lorraine, Renee, and Bryn have all shown interest in being either chair and or vice chair. And so they are very capable people, and I've had some training days with them. We have a little bit more to do. Plans moving forward, Renee is going to be acting as chair for this meeting. Renee for this meeting. Lorraine will take over everything next month. So she will be contacting you with anything that needs to happen. Any questions, you should contact her. You can CC me in them or create a group chat with me so you can still get my input, but I want Lorraine to be taking point on things. And then she will also lead next month's meeting. And then March is when we get all of our new members and all of our old members leave. So that happens in March. And then in April is when we do the elections for the new officer positions. So we have 1 month where we have the overlap just so we can get to know the new people before we elect them into the positions. And then I already talked about prep for turnover a little bit. We are already prepping a little bit for it. But if you would like to have any other kind of training, totally open to do that. Just let me know. My schedule is a little bit more open now with college, as long as I can know ahead of time. But that is, I think, all I have, unless any of you have questions for me. Cool.
All right, awesome. We're gonna move on to standing committee reports, and that's starting with me with local government. I'm gonna share my screen real quick and present something. Could you make me host again, or could you like hand it off to me, Bryce, to be able to share my screen?
There you go.
Okay, it's working now. Awesome. All right. Okay. This thing right here. Present. Okay. So this is my government monthly report. This monthly report comes from all the way from November to now, just in January, just because our December meeting we didn't really have. It was more of that mental health day that we had. And then my point 8 was vote 16 with Wichita Youth Council. Basically, I met back with them at the beginning. They started emailing us in, I'd say, November. Their mayor over there, her name is Masha. She's kind of like the chair over there of their youth council. Basically, Masha had a big interest in the Vote 16 project that has been going around nationwide. Vote 16 is basically a national outreach program that tries to help out just youth around the country to like give them resources to basically tackle on the main goal of getting youth vote to like basically the requirement to go down to 16. But as we know that basically we wanted to focus on just state school board elections. And we can't really do that in a way where you're gonna tackle it on just by city. Is that in order for us to like change that rule, that we're gonna have to take it on as a state. So they basically reached out to us, the Topeka Youth Commission on the government side, to like tackle on that and help with the Topeka outreach and get that on. Right now, they're really on the early stages. The Wichita group is starting task forces of like just different outreaches, and like they're basically in the rough drafts. We had the meeting back in late December, December over winter break. After big concessions from the group, the government subcommittee group, they really were really passionate about this project and wanted to work on it. So basically, after this month, we're gonna get back on it with them and just yeah, because before they were just presenting the idea. And now I'm gonna move on to the TCYC. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 23rd at 6 p.m. over Zoom. Um, These are current members right now that we have. Our topics for next meeting, that's what we want to discuss. Basically at the I want you guys give me one second. At the by the end of the day, I'm gonna send out a Google form to the GroupMe message, and you're just gonna fill out that Google form saying what topics you'd want us to talk about, and then we're gonna get those ideas back to the government group, and basically have a conversation of what we want to bring up. We have had like a small conversation about a couple of things, but they were pretty like there wasn't really a common theme, or there wasn't really just one thing that we really wanted to focus on. But another point that I did want to point out was we do have 2 vacancies right here, as you can see on District 1 and District 2. So basically, I want to alleviate those, those, basically get rid of those vacancies. So right now in the chat, I put in a website where you can check in what city council you're in. A lot of us, a couple of us may not even be in any of the city councils, but if you are in District 1 or 9, please let me know. We just really want to fill in those vacancies and just like be able to like have a well-rounded conversation. The more people, the merrier, basically. And that should be it for my standing report. I think that should be given. It'll be given back to the chair, which is me. Let me stop sharing my screen. Awesome. Okay, and then we're gonna move on to outreach committee with Emma.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I know that some of you don't know this, but I actually took over the outreach committee this month, or end of last month, I guess. So I've had a few meetings. I don't really have a lot to share, but we have had a meeting, and we are planning. I just need to figure out the order of which events we want to do. Like, we have the ideas down, we just don't know which ones we want to do right away. And so I think I'm going to try to get with them this week, just like on a group chat, and like vote for which one we want to do first. So look out for that, my committee. And I think that's it. I talked to Kelly Maydew. I don't know if she's on here or not. I think that's who I talked to. I emailed.
You did. Hi.
Hi. So she gave me some really good ideas, and I mean, we had the ideas done, but she really helped and clarified everything. So if you ever need anything, go to her. So she's gonna start helping me plan some events for Topeka for us to start doing. So that's all I have, but we will start doing these hopefully within the next few weeks. I have a really big one for summer, so it might not seem like I'm doing a whole lot, but it's a long process. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Emma?
Hey, Emma, this is Kelly. I apologize. I don't have much of a voice. When you would send emails or anything like that, where you're kind of talking about the event planning side of things, if you want to include me or just keep me in the loop, I'd appreciate that, just so I can kind of help you out every step of the way, and just be a little more efficient that way. So just don't forget about me in those planning emails.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, awesome. Any more questions? All right, okay, so next committee is McKinsey with community involvement.
Okay, so it's a little bit long, but that's okay. So we had a meeting on January the 17th, which was a Sunday, and we went over what we had accomplished in 2020 with projects completed by Riley, Amelia, and in progress project with Christian. We also talked about the volunteering with Shooting Star that is now rescheduled, that we're working on rescheduling for springtime because of COVID issues. And then we also volunteered with voting registration. So we talked about all of those. We planned out some future goals for the improvement of the committee. Let's see. We talked about how we're going to continue with meeting dates, which is just being posted, post polls throughout our group chat. If anyone else is interested in the committee, just being a part of one of the projects that we're coming up on, just let me know. Just text me and I can add you to the chat of that specific project. Each group project will have its own chat, so it's easier to communicate with everybody. Our next meeting is February 14th from 6:30 to 8. It will most likely, it could be on Zoom, but we're going to try and do it at TCalc in a meeting room where we're all socially distanced, but that is hopefully it. I'm not sure if it's going to plan out correctly with COVID, everything. So the projects that we're working on right now are educational change, which we have 6 members a part of: Amelia, Lorraine, Jamari, and Jackie, and me. The purpose is to get youth voice heard in educational decisions about classes, dress code, school changes, teachers, disciplinary actions, mental and physical health, lunches, and etc. The challenges that we face are working with the Board of Education to actually listen to the youth. We know they've been putting on representatives for youth, but it's only one youth per Board of Education for the school. So that student gets overruled a lot, and that's what we are discovering. So we're really trying to bring in youth voices to those educational matters. The next project we're working on is still the human trafficking. We've got about 6 or so members. We've got Ryan, Emma, Christian, Brianne, me, and Renee. And then we're continuing to bring awareness to the ages of 12 to 18. And we're working on scheduling a few meetings with the head of human trafficking for the police department. I'm still working on getting contact information for her. And then we went over some new rules for our projects. We're starting to use an acronym called, basically it's called SPIE. It's SPIE, and it stands for Scan, Plan, Implement, and Evaluate. And so we're working on explaining all of those, and we're getting some of that information put together. And that's all I had. Is anyone have any questions for me?
Doesn't seem like there's any. So our last standing committee report goes to Bryn with social media.
So we've been helping with recruitment and the grant for the last 2 months, just posting that on our social medias. And so for February, I've been looking at doing like a self-love kind of event thing with our social media and do a theme with that. And then also for the week of Valentine's Day, do stuff that you can do downtown Topeka or anywhere in Topeka with just like events that you can do with your couple or just with your friends.
Awesome. Is there any questions for Bryn? All right. So we're gonna actually, does anyone have any other questions for any of the committees? No? All right. We're gonna move on to old business. And the first item on the agenda of old business is the DA board. I'm not 100% sure, but it may be Sailor that has that on. Yeah, Sailor.
Yeah, so this month I'm basically have been working on reopening the lines of communications with the DA and Marcus specifically. So I'm working on that. And when I have more major updates, I will have that in the bigger group chat.
Awesome. The next point on the agenda is the TCF. Oh, sorry, Mark, you have a question?
Just real quick, talking with the DA, I'm going to be speaking with their office on Thursday about youth court. Is there some way I can help open up some doors? What are you guys looking for from the DA's office? How can I help?
Well, we're trying to get a podcast set up between youth and the district attorney's office, but I could just shoot you an email so we could talk about this and then the financial planning.
Yeah, we could, if you want it to be more than just a podcast, we do have the StreamYard software, and that can easily be going. And because we've got youth court, we've got a vested interest in what's going on, and so we can use some of those resources as well, if that's an interest.
Yeah, so real quick, kind of what she's alluding to, the DA, Marcus, I believe, is like the administrative assistant there for Mike.
Marcus,
and yeah. Yep. So Marcus reached out to the Youth Commission and said the DA was interested in partnering with youth just to get the youth perspective on how can we decrease crime and how is crime viewed differently. And so one thing that he mentioned in that meeting was like, adults don't always understand, like we know sexual assault is happening, but we don't always understand why it's underreported in colleges. And so that's something the youth in the room are kind of like, well, no, duh, there's obviously a reason for it, but it's not necessarily getting translated. And so we're still kind of catching up from a few months ago when they reached out to do that.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Where it started.
Yeah, well, and that's a lot of the reason that we wanted to do the youth live stream, is to be able to share stories from youth perspective. So, yeah, Saylor, if there's anything I can do to help make that a reality for you guys, I'd be more than happy to.
Yes, I will definitely let you know.
All right, awesome. Any more questions for Saylor on that? All right, moving on to the TCF grant. And that's with Elaine. Is there more to add to it? Okay.
I don't think so, but I think Bryce had something.
Yeah, so real quick, I mentioned, let me write something down real quick before I forget. So before the grant closed, I mentioned for those of you who got your call in, our monthly call in December was supposed to replace the meeting. For those of you who got the call in, you knew that there was an incentive for getting people to sign up for the grant before January 1st. And so we had 5 people sign up for the grant before January 1st. And so I just need to know somebody, if anybody, I know some of them like were recommended by teachers, so don't try to lie. It's if you want to like encourage them to apply for the grant, not like, oh, I know Renee from 2nd grade, I'm gonna put my name down for him. But if you encouraged like your friend and they applied, then I can go ahead and get your incentive for that. So I'll just read names, and if you're on tonight's meeting, I will contact you. The first is Destiny Shipley. Was that anybody's?
My little cousin.
Okay. Sophia Fries, F-R-I-E-S. Okay. Kira Burney, B-U-R-N-E-Y. Kyra, sorry, it's pronounced Kyra. I keep messing that up. Okay. Michelle Moe. And Miles Cusick. All right. I will get in touch with you, Chanel. That is all I had.
Awesome. And the next point on the agenda is letter to self. So if you want to take that on.
Yeah. For those of you who I have your letters, they are good and ready to go. And I will get those to you sometime. You won't know when it's coming. But I still need letters from Adrian, who I know is on today. Cleo, Carla are not on. Oscar, Riley, and Trinity. So if you emailed me them, my bad, I missed them. Can you just resend the email? If you haven't done them, can you do them tonight? It takes like 5 minutes. It's if you need a little refresher, it's just a letter to yourself in the future. It can be encouragement. Some people, if they're going through like a rough time with COVID or just a rough time in general, it's like a way to remind them that it's going to be okay, or just something that in a few months when you read it, it's going to give you a little boost of encouragement. So if you can send me that tonight, Adrian, Oscar, Riley, and Trinity, that would be great. That's all I had on that.
Awesome. Any questions on that? Okay, the next point is simple acts of kindness, and I'm pretty sure that's Mackenzie.
Yeah, that was our last year's project. I don't think we're probably going to continue with that right now, just because I know everyone in my committee has quite a bit going on. So, but that project was just trying to get people active in the community. Not as much doing like a huge big project, but doing simple tasks around the community. So if anyone has any ideas for those, I think we should still continue them, but just on a smaller scale. But for right now, we haven't done any this month.
Awesome. Any questions on that? Okay. Moving on, the next point is recruitment. Okay, so me and Lorraine are actually taking on recruitment. Basically, I just want to say I really strongly encourage you guys to like reach out to whoever you know that's around your school or just people that you know to simply like at least tell them about what the Topeka Youth Commission is and in what ways they can get engaged. From what I saw this Sunday, we were interviewing like Topeka people for the 785 candidates, and a lot of these people like they really had questions to like just to simply know who we are and what we do. We're still pretty new to the Topeka community, especially from 2017. So that's a big thing. Definitely look to your Key Club, look to your student council, your National Honor Society, just people who that actually like really care about Topeka and like would want to make it better. Or maybe they don't actually like Topeka and they still want to make it better. I know from going from my first like I'd say like a month of being in the Topeka Youth Commission, my vision and what Topeka looked like changed completely. If you're too scared to like talk to them, I could definitely email them. Just like say that, hey, we've seen like your the work that you've done and like just the amount of effort you put into the community, and definitely think that you should apply. As of now, we have 11 applicants, and our goal is to hit at least, I would say, 25. We know that a couple are going to come in by the end of the deadline on the 31st, but we are basically planning on extending the deadline just due to COVID and school to about February 14th. So there's definitely still time to fill out the letter of interest on the website. And yeah, also expect more details about a recruitment video that I'll contact a couple of you at least to just basically get a video in about the time that the deadline is, or like a couple weeks before the deadline will be in February. And then from there, we'll basically hope to try to get social media to really push it out. And with social media, we know that it definitely takes all our members that we currently have to push that out. Like it would only take you posting it on like your Instagram story, like the post of the video or whatever, and it'd reach so many more people in your realm. And yeah, do you have anything else to add, Lorraine, on that? It's okay if not. Bryce, you were unmuted, so I was expecting you to say something.
Yeah, so Renee is very kind, saying that he strongly encourages you. As the chair, I am going to require you. Those of you who remember probably about a month ago, you filled out this little Excel spreadsheet that like put your name on the left-hand side and then had 5 different slots that you could put people's names in. So as acting chair, I get to say you are required to email those 5 people. You don't have to reach out to them formally if you're not comfortable with that, although face-to-face communication or Zoom is usually a little bit harder for them to say no. But at bare minimum, email your teachers, email your counselor, email any leadership teachers, any JAG teachers. Those are really good places to get a lot of applicants. If you are a part of 501's TCalc, that's a place that we got a lot of interest last year. So it would be worth it reaching out to your students there. Those of you, don't mean to call you out, but Sailor, who goes to Silver Lake, and Emma, who goes to Hayden, I believe, you guys are the only 2 from your respective schools. And so I would love to not just have one person from your school, but all of you should get people from your school. Oscar, HP, we need a lot of HP applicants. So I think everybody who went to HP has either moved or has like either moved out of the youth commission or has moved schools and is no longer at HP other than you. So really, really important you reach out to people. Another kind of testimony to putting it on your story, of the 11 applicants, more than half have said they heard of the youth commission through Renee and Lorraine. And I know at least one was like, oh, I saw it on their Instagram story. And another one was, I saw it on their Snapchat story. So those passive posts that take a second for you to screenshot and put on your story make a difference. And please do so, because it's really important that we have a good membership base next year, especially as we have leadership changes happening.
Yeah, really true. Okay, any more questions on recruitment, guys? Or y'all? Awesome. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next point. And we have adoptive family. I don't remember whose that was.
That's mine. We were gonna adopt a family in December, but we started on it a little too late, and then we also didn't have a meeting in December to finalize it. So some of the funds are still available for what we were going to do. And so if there's a large interest in helping out in Topeka in a financial, like we buy stuff sort of way, please let me know. You can, probably the easiest way is to text me if you're interested, and we can make something happen. Yep, that's all I have on that.
All right, and then the next point is financial planning series. I think that was for Sailor, but I don't know if you want to address something else.
I don't have anything else to add to that.
Awesome. All right. The next point is mental health night, and that I think should be Bryce.
Yep, so we had a mental health night in December, I believe. It was kind of bad timing on my part. We had a few people show up, but not as many as we would have liked. Are we interested, just by like a show of thumbs up, or for those of you who have your video on, you can like raise your hand. Are you interested in doing a mental health night again? Basically, we would just all log on Zoom and we could like play some fun games. Like I have Among Us that you can play on Zoom and stuff like that. Or if we just want to forget it, that's totally fine too. But I just wanted to bring it up again and see if it was something, and kind of have a discussion really quick about what we wanted to see. I know you might be zoomed out at this point with school, so that's a totally fine answer. I just want to see where you all are at. Not all at once.
Hey, Bryce.
Yeah.
What if we waited to do something that to kind of see how things plan out, and maybe do something outside to where we wouldn't have to do any more Zoom calls, but like spread out enough, and maybe just do some outside like socially distanced games.
Yeah, like the rock. We did the rock painting before at the lake.
Like something like rock painting or other. I know I think there's a few games I've seen on Pinterest when I'm searching up like bonding activities for us. So for like the group.
Sounds good. Any other thoughts? Need like the Jeopardy theme song. 2 more people, and then we can move on. I want to hear from you guys.
I was just gonna say that I think that is a good idea, but I'm not the type of person to like get out of my bed when not have to, if that makes sense. So like I'd really have to be motivated. But I also think that we should, I know it's not really gonna matter until like a few months from now, but I think that we should do some like bonding and stuff with like all like the new members.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, that's all.
Another question I had, Bryce, is I know that last year we were supposed to plan a kind of group stay over at Washburn. Was there any way we were doing something similar to that, kind of like a training for new members and new officers?
Yeah, so we typically, I don't want to say typically because the Youth Commission's only been around for 2 years. So of the 2 years, one of which was COVID free, we did do a day-long training, and the benefits of it were very apparent this year. I was really close with everybody in last year's group, not you guys the year before, because of that training. And like we were friends not only with the Youth Commission, but we were friends outside of the Youth Commission, and we had, I think, a lot more like inside jokes and more of a community aspect. And I think COVID has really made it hard to get that this year because the closest we can even be is 6 feet. So the plan is, yes, to do something. Now that we know more about COVID, we can plan ahead a little bit. At the time when we were supposed to do it this year, it was the first initial lockdown. And so Washburn was 100% no way, no how. They couldn't, and we really couldn't either because it was the legit lockdown. So yes, long answer short is we will do something. It won't be overnight, but there will be a training / bonding experience of sorts. So
I have something super random, but it's just an idea. April, Easter's my favorite holiday. That's why it popped in my head. It'd be cool to do, we could do it with like the small businesses or Noto or something, like some kind of like a scavenger hunt, how we did, but more like Easter, like an Easter egg hunt type of thing. And then there could probably even be something on social media involvement, like the Easter egg hunt type thing.
Yeah, I like it. Just got to get somebody to plan it, get with a subgroup. But I like it. One more person. Thoughts on mental health night?
I really like the idea of it. I would join it. I wasn't able to last time, but I would join it. It sounds like a good bonding event, but it's really near the end of the year. So
yeah. All right. Anybody else? That's all I got. Somebody else has something.
All right. We can move on to new business. I don't have anything else for the first point of Vote 16. Really, if you guys have any more questions about it, I know I kind of went fast through it, just let me know. Yeah, any questions? All right, awesome. Now we're going to move on to podcasts, and that should be Bryn.
Yeah, so we mentioned this in we mentioned it in the, I forget what meeting we mentioned it in, sorry. But I kind of like thought about the idea a little more, and Lorraine, you said something about how your mom does podcast, and so I wanted to get your guys' opinions and see if you wanted to do like podcasts where we could just like we can talk about stuff like that we want to like address in the community, or we can just have fun with it and kind of have like show more that we're also like teams and stuff like that.
So this was also in partner with Mark. So I'll let him speak a little bit too, but this was his StreamYard as well. So kind of marrying the two.
I want to say thank you, first of all, for letting me join you guys in for your meeting and being a little fly on the wall. For years, the Youth Project hosted the Mayor's Youth Council, which kind of was like a prototype for what you guys are doing now. Youth Council, or the Mayor's Youth Council used to do great big things in Topeka, like the Battle of the Bands, where they'd have thousands of people out in Gage Park. It influenced the city in tremendous ways. And so you guys have everything that you need at that. Last year, we had been awarded a grant by Humanities Kansas to help tell the stories of youth during the times of COVID. And so we put together about 10 different live streams from July, August, through December last year. Just about everyone that's in here was on one of those. Between the Youth Commission and the Youth Project's pages, we've had about 15,000 views of those videos. We still have $150 worth of promotion. So I'll be promoting a number of the low viewed videos on the Youth Commission side. I didn't ask you guys for permission to spend money on it, but went ahead and did it. Kind of figured you didn't have to pay anything. So, and I had to spend the money anyway. So help get some views and some people going to your page that way. I think we found out that trying to do a weekly show, especially a weekly live show, was a bit ambitious for everyone's schedule. I would like to try to do a monthly live stream. What's nice about the technology that we use with StreamYard is that people can interact with us right away and ask questions. I use it quite a lot with Planet Comic Con. I do a weekly broadcast with them, talking with cosplayers all around the Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita area. And it tends to do pretty okay. I've had podcasts in the past, and I think you get a little bit more viewership and can almost have about the same analytics that you get with a live stream that you do with a podcast as well. If you do decide just to go a pure audio podcast, I might suggest talking to the Boys and Girls Club. The Teen Center, I believe, has a podcast studio already created. Not only that, but I think the JAG program over at Highland Park also has a studio that could be used pretty quickly to make those podcasts. And there's quite a few people in the community who can help you get on a number of listings and out there with your podcast. The resources are out there. I would like to talk to you guys about if you'd like to do a monthly live stream with the Youth Project and Washburn Mass Media, and what the topics might be for those months. If we got time to have that conversation pretty quickly. So who all would be in favor of continuing to do a monthly live stream? Does it help with your outreach? Can it help with getting the word out about a number of the events and other things that you're planning? Can we use it towards those ends?
I definitely agree with you. Weekly was quite a bit, but I think monthly would definitely be a little bit more doable and accessible. But as for topics, I'm open to just about anything.
Yeah, I really do like the just like narrowing down to like focusing on monthly. It'll really help us out just with getting of what we're currently doing out in a non like format way, like regular meetings that we have like this. Um, but for topics, I think we're pretty open. I know as teens, we're pretty ambiguous with anything that is thrown at us. So I mean, I'm pretty open to anything also.
Well, let me ask this. I chose Tuesday nights because I thought they would be pretty open in everyone's schedule, but that doesn't seem to be quite the case. If we do a monthly, would it be better to do it like the this is the third Monday? Would it be best
Fourth.
if we do the fourth
Oh.
Monday?
This is the fourth Monday, so we
This
could
is
do
the
the third Monday.
Well, I was going to say, or maybe we do it the week after the first Monday of the month. So that way it follows up the week right after your meeting. So we've got some idea and a reminder that it's coming up that following week. Would that be an interest of doing the first Monday or sometime the week after your meeting here? Does that make more sense for time wise?
That'd work for me. I think also doing it monthly, we're going to be able to reach out and advertise it a little bit more. I know personally, there's a mayor's conference that has mayors from all over the nation in it, and they all come together just to talk about boring city things like roads. But as somebody who's been to those conferences, I think we could pull from the youth that are there and start to get a little bit of national attention for the youth project, the Youth Commission in Washburn. So I think that's definitely something. And then maybe discussing topics that are important to youth and also things that are going on in Topeka, so we can start to get Topeka as a whole and the three groups that are represented put on the map a little bit nationally.
Amelia, your episode went over pretty gosh darn well with a lot of folks. What were some of the things that you learned that maybe we can do better in monthly episodes?
Well, I know in the disability one, we talked about like our life and what it's like for us and kind of more like, I don't know how to describe it, but maybe some like help for people, like some tips for people who might be going through stuff. I don't really know.
Okay. And Lorraine, you had some insight as well, saying that it would help if we had a way to better market it. Do you think shortening the name to just like Youth Livestream or Topeka Youth Conversations or something like that, is there a catchy name anyone can think of that we might be able to help market it a little easier? We can think on that. As far as topics go, February I know is Black History Month, and there's a number of Cancer Prevention Month. I think Black History Month would probably be a little bit better conversation, but there'd be a lot of resources for either one. March is Red Cross Month, Nutrition Awareness Month, and National Women's History Month. We could go with any of those. Is it easiest maybe if I've got these broken down by month, I could copy and paste into the chat. And then you guys
that's fine, or you can share your screen to it set up. So either way, whatever you.
Well, let's see. Share
I
screen.
personally like doing Black History Month and looping in Brown v. Board, and also National Women's History Month and looping in Angel Zimmerman and the YWCA. But that's just me. I want to hear from other people too.
I personally really liked the podcast, so I think it's a good idea. But actually there's no really buts. I think all of those ideas are really good.
And I think that the social media crew can align, like obviously align with the like theme of the podcast and like make posts working up to the podcast. Well, if it's at the beginning of the month, and but make posts aligning with the topic of the podcast.
Bryn, have you had any experience with StreamYard?
Not a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been having one of the former Washburn Mass Media students be our producer. Would you like to learn and help produce the show?
I can.
I think that would be very good. I also have a couple of graphic designers who can make graphics for us, but they can't touch anything online because it's outside of their program at Washburn Tech. And so if we get an idea of what kind of graphics we want, you can be in charge of making sure that they get out there, so on and so forth. Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
Okay. If we go in March, out of those three, what do people like the most? Red Cross Month, Nutrition Awareness, or National Women's History Month?
Women's History Month.
Women's History Month. Bring in Angel Zimmerman and YWCA?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. What about in April? We've got Child Abuse Awareness, National Volunteer Week, and Animal Cruelty Prevention.
Those are all really good.
Yeah.
topics.
They're all pretty different too, so I don't know. It's really hard to choose.
Well, National Volunteer Week, we can talk to the United Way and talk about Nancy Perry Day of Caring. I think that's that same time of year.
Yep.
We can talk to Helping Hands with animal cruelty prevention.
I feel like helping hands and the volunteer could align because they have the volunteer program thing at Helping Hands, so maybe you could tie those together.
So maybe look more towards the animal cruelty and tie in National Volunteer Week and tell them, hey, here's where you can volunteer.
Or do the National Volunteer Week and then tie in the Helping Hands portion, if that makes sense. Because then there's a lot more volunteer opportunities that could be presented as well.
Way, and we can talk about Topeka volunteers. .org. And hands. Maybe we could get a few organizations that are on that TopekaVolunteers.org and talk about National Volunteer Week for that and say, hey, you're going to have the opportunities. If that sounds agreeable, we can certainly do that for April. Is anyone against that? No? Okay, in May, Mental Health Awareness Month, National Foster Care Month, or National Police Week?
Mental health awareness.
It seemed to go over pretty well when we were talking online. We've certainly got Tricia Sublett from Scent who will join us and talk about things like that. Does that sound like an idea?
Yeah, and I can get some people. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just think that's a good idea. That's what I was going to say.
I can get people from Family Servants and Guidance Center as well.
Excellent. Do you want to do them over the summer, or is summer kind of a difficult time for you guys?
I feel like you've already narrowed it down to once a month, so I feel like that shouldn't be too bad to like make achievable. And I feel like if it makes our presence even more known, then why not? Especially since we don't have school. So if anything, it should be easier.
Mm-hmm. So
I think, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, Bryce.
I think also we could stop there in May because we will be getting new members in March. So not sure, but for the members we lose and the ones we gain, the interests of the overall group might shift. I think obviously volunteerism and mental health are going to be pretty consistent, but if we wanted to stop there and then we could reevaluate in April with our new members, if we wanted to do stuff over the after May, or if we wanted
feel
to
like
do
that
new
gives-
topics or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like that gives enough time to make adjustments if things aren't going as planned or if things are going better than planned.
Okay, that certainly works for me. If we're looking at doing the first Monday of the month, that gives us about a week before February. Or do we want to try to push it back a week or two?
I don't know off the top of my head. Are there any significant days with Brown v. Board that happen in February? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't remember the date of the actual trial or the date of the sentencing. So I'd have to Google it.
That's what that's what I'm doing right now.
The only thing that I see on February is that on February 28th, Brown v. Board of Education was filed in federal district court in Kansas.
That's
Yeah.
the important date then.
Yeah, so
So
we don't want to wait till the 28th.
yeah.
I know that it's like a bit far away, but on November it's Native American Heritage Month, so could we add that to the list of the possibilities?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. So we want to do it before the 28th. That do.
What
So
problems are we seeing with doing it on the 28th? I'm just saying that like we would have time to be able to promote it through social media, and we'd have like posts going out, I bet, every week.
well, if we're looking at doing the first Monday of, and you know, we're not married to the idea of first Monday at all, but it would be a Sunday evening. I get done with the broadcast I do for Planet at 7, so we could do it anytime after that. Like we could go for 7:38, or we could do it earlier in the day before 5:30.
The only problem I see is if eventually we would lean towards that first Monday of the month schedule. And if we were going to start that in March, that would mean we're doing one on the 28th. And then the first Monday of March is the 1st. So you'd have one on the 28th and one the very next day. So if you wanted to spread them out a little bit.
I mean, I think we have plenty of time to do something by February 1st. I would just have to go ahead and put it in today and get some folks signed up and ready to talk. And we can talk to some of the folks over at Brown v. Board. Maybe Glenda Washington would be a great speaker since she sits on their board.
Yeah.
And say, here's some of the things. Now, during the gun violence talk, we spoke with some folks from the youth NAACP. Do we still have those connections?
We do.
Would we be able to get a couple of those youth to sit with us? Because, you know, the show worked a lot better when we had more youth voices. So I'd like to get, you know, we can have anywhere from 6 to 9 youth on the conversation with us. And so,
yeah, if we wanted them, I would want to push it till the 8th of February, just to give them enough time to reach their membership group. It usually doesn't, I don't want to say they're slow or anything. It's not a dig on them, but it just usually takes a lot longer to reach them and then get them like a schedule set. But I think the 8th would give us enough time to do that.
Sounds good to me. Anyone
And that would
against
also
that?
give a little bit of more time for promotion as well.
Yeah. Anyone against that? No? Okay. So we'll go with that. Bren, if you can, I will put where's the chat now? I'm missing my chat button now. There it is. Let's see, to everyone. My email, director at Topeka Youth Project.com. Brent, if you want to reach out to me, we'll start talking about promotions and how we can make things happen and what we need to do, so on and so forth. We'll get set up for February 8th. Is 6 p.m. a good time? Is 7 p.m. a better time? Is 5 p.m. a better time? What works better for folks?
I'm good anytime on Mondays. So
Renee, what's a good time for you, my man?
I mean, yeah, I'd say I'm more close to like 7 p.m., 6, just after school time.
Shamel, what works for you?
I'd say earlier, but I also know that, school.
What's that?
Can you hear me?
I can kind of hear you. Kind of died out there for a second right after the but.
Oh yeah, I just died out in general. Earlier works better for me.
Yeah. Sailor, how about you?
Really anytime works for me.
Adrian, Ishta, J. Marie, Mr. Williams, whose name I keep screwing up.
Whenever.
I'm good with any time.
7 sounds good. Doesn't matter.
Lorraine, Shay, Emma.
6 or 7 sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should keep the later times.
Okay, I'm kind of hearing a consensus of the later time. So we'll go with February 8th at 7 p.m. And then I will send out, and maybe I'll have Bren send out links to everyone who can join us, and just the first 8 or 9 people who can join us. Great. If people want to reserve spots and say, I'm definitely going to be there, that'd be great as well. So. Other things that I can say real quick as a youth project, we do have our jobs program, brand new curriculum. I'm working on adding a program where those people who come and take the Jobs for Young Adults program can instantly, as soon as they start their job, go into a program to help them buy their first vehicle. And I'm working on getting a van so that we can provide transportation to work for those youth who go through the jobs program. So we know enough from the surveys and enough from narrative that the community, the business community says that transportation is often the biggest hurdle for youth keeping a steady job. So. Yeah, that's about what I got. Thank you guys for giving me your time and attention.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Did you hear the last?
You're cutting out, Renee. At least I didn't
We
hear
have
anything you just said.
binders. Oh. Yeah, okay.
You're good
It
now.
started working now. Binders.
Okay. All you lovely people that have not talked today, this is your chance because I want to hear from everybody. So at the beginning of the year, you get a little white binder. I think it says membership binder on the front of it. You open it up, it has all sorts of information, including white pages, yellow pages, and your own notes. One, I'm gonna need those binders back next meeting, because we'll take them back, we'll redo them for the new information. We have new city council members, we'll have new youth commissioners, and we'll have new county commissioners since we made those last, I believe. Maybe the county commissioners didn't change. So we'll take those back, we'll change it, and we will give those back to you again in March. So be prepared for that in February. If you aren't going to make February's meeting, this is your time to plan ahead and meet me at Washburn one day so I can grab that binder from you before the meeting. Or you can drop it off with Renee or Lorraine. But what is good in the binders? What is bad in the binders? What would you like to see added to the binders? What is something that you didn't really use in the binder? I want to hear it all, please, from everybody. So I'll call you out if you don't volunteer yourself.
Okay, I'm volunteering myself. That was not English, but I don't want you to call me out. So I have my handy dandy binder right here, and honestly, I'm gonna be straight up. I don't think I ever used it. I think I used it for like board members, and I'm on like social media, so I used it for like the color schemes and like what to use and what not to use. And then like our like goals, not like our goals, but like you told us that we had to, like, if someone asked us like how to explain it, that we could explain it. So I use that sheet a lot. And then like the people that we like needed to know, because I have contacted some of them for help. So that's it on my part.
I'll
Okay.
volunteer myself too. Something I used in the binders a lot was like here's the people that you need to know, or that's good to know, and their contact information. I feel like that just comes in handy. And something I feel like I didn't really use that much was I don't know. Something else I used a lot was the contact information for the members. That came in handy a lot. I don't really think anything's like useless though. So yeah.
I thought the contact list for the members, that was the most useful thing for me, I think, because I used it, that was the thing I used the most. Also, I liked having all the meeting dates like in it at the beginning, just because you can like put them all down right away, and then you don't have to miss anything.
For me, I think the thing that I liked the most was the basics that we just had to know. That probably had to do with like meeting dates, contacts, people who you need to contact. But for on the government side, I knew specifically definitely who our city council members were, who was on the county commission, and then probably also the like maps that were on there. There was some pages that I didn't really like get into a lot. Probably like the tutorial of like something with like Canva, Zoom. I don't know. There was some stuff I think at the end that I didn't really use. That may have been just specifically towards another committee. And so like maybe if we made the binders more designated to what role each person has, that would help.
I also thought the people you need to know and the meeting dates were really helpful, and I don't think there's anything that was really useless. I just didn't really find a need for some of the stuff.
Fair.
For me, I definitely used a lot of it, especially in the new binder that I'm creating for like the involvement committee. The only pages I didn't use very much were like the important dates. Like I liked having them, but I didn't really use them very much. And then I liked having like the whole beginning section of it, but I kind of split mine up into different sections so that especially if you're like a chair, that I didn't have to have like two different and separate binders. I just combined them. But then I didn't really work well with like the event planning sheet just because of how the events that we were planning were going. It just really didn't fit in with the schedule for what we kind of were doing. So
Good to know. Jamari, Amelia, Sailor, Madison, anything?
I don't really have much to add. Honestly, like they said, I didn't really use it that much. Like with the dates, I just put it all on my phone. That's how I keep my calendar. I think all of it's like important information though, and it could come in handy.
I have to agree with that. I did read over a lot of the information, but I haven't looked at it in a while. And yeah, I keep all of my dates online. So I didn't really need to check the binder dates.
I agree with a lot of that. I read through everything, and definitely the information about people was more important than like how to run a meeting or how to have an effective meeting. But I did find that information useful.
I'll add this though. I feel like if we would have met in person more often, it would have came more in handy.
Yeah, it comes really, I don't think this group has experienced it, but when you're in a meeting with adults, like having a binder with all that information is really helpful, because then when they start asking you questions, you can just pull out that one page and it really has everything. I know, again, you guys haven't experienced this, but especially when you're fundraising, we have like these fundraising packets, and just being able to pull out this packet and it has everything that they need to know already wrapped up in it is really helpful. But I would agree with you 100%, Shamel. Anybody else? Jamari, I haven't heard from you. Mm-hmm. All right, well, if you think of anything, you can put it in the chat. But just by a show of hands or like thumbs up on a Zoom, if your answer is no, just don't do anything. Would it be helpful? So I have the chairs each making a binder for their replacement. So like Bryn's, for example, is probably the easiest. But like hers will have all the social medias that we currently have, passwords, usernames, the marketing piece for it, the importance of marketing, and then the brand sheet and the importance of staying within your brand. And each chair is making their own binder for the next chair that replaces them, with the idea of like, if they got hit by a bus tomorrow, the next chair could read their binder and would know exactly what to do. Do you think it would be helpful if I had each chair of a committee make like a 3 or 4 page insert that, so like if Amelia was a part of 3 different committees on the first day in March, she gets those 3 inserts to put into her binder and they're specific to the committee? Do you think that would be helpful? Thumbs up, or is it just more papers you won't read? Don't do anything. Okay. Looks like the chairs have some more work. Okay. Anything else with binders? I wrote all that stuff down. Okay, last thing with binders, the piece that Renee was talking about that nobody read was Trello, and I have tried it for 2 years now. It has been and I wouldn't even say semi-successful. One subcommittee has used it this year. Last year it failed hard. Trello, do we like Trello? Do we just not need another app? How do you guys like to organize your to-do lists? Yes Trello, no Trello for next year.
I feel like Trello is helpful, but you have to be like committed to it. Like the whole subcommittee has to be committed to it, and I feel like that's kind of where we all fell short.
I
That's
agree.
what I was
Like,
yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
The whole concept of it and the organization of it is there. It's just actually getting us to stay consistent with it.
Agreed.
I know for at least social media committee, it was really hard to use just because we have so many like posts going on a week that we didn't, like at least I felt it was weird to have a reminder daily for them to post. And there's not a lot of projects that go on within the social media committee besides that. So it just felt unnecessary to use it for, at least for my committee.
This isn't necessarily on the Trello topic, but I think that I know not everybody has Facebook, but you can get Facebook Messenger without Facebook. And on Facebook Messenger, you can create events. So there'd be like reminders for things. And then you could see when people have read the message, you could still react. So I feel like Facebook Messenger would be a better way of communicating than GroupMe, because GroupMe also doesn't always notify you.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've tried Slack and Facebook Messenger, and last year's group was unsuccessful with both. But
I was even gonna say, I did of events, not a lot of events. I did like all like the Google like calendar invites, and I thought those were a pretty good idea. But I'm also like, I constantly have to check my email for a lot of things. So, but I thought that like Google Invite was a pretty, yeah, good idea.
I also think Google Invite was very helpful because you get like the little notifications if you forget something. It was very nice.
Shay, guess what? You're in charge of those. Isn't that crazy? Good thing you like them. Yeah, Mark.
This is just the perspective of an old man who's spent about 20 years in working in nonprofit organizations with a great variety of people. The conversation that you're having will maybe a new conversation to you, but it will continue to haunt you for the next 40 years. Someone had mentioned it. Out of all of the options that you have available, any of them can work, but everyone has to be on the same page.
Yep.
And so just as an old, bald, broken dude, that's my perspective to give advice for that. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. And GroupMe is like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like the basic version of everything else. I feel like every other app, you can do so much more. Like Slack has so much more you can do with it. Facebook Messenger, like Shamel said, has so much more you can do with it. But for some reason, people love the GroupMe.
I also feel like Facebook is something people are on more often. GroupMe is like the only reason you get on GroupMe is for that one reason. But like people are always on Facebook Messenger. And then I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay. Anything else? Cool. Just curious. Yeah, back to you, Renee.
All right. Any more questions on that? Awesome. We're on our last point for new business, meetings for cont members. I have no idea what that is. Oh,
meetings for meetings for continuing members. Can you tell I was getting tired of writing? Those of you who are continuing with the Youth Commission, you do not need to fill out the application. If you do, I will know you're not listening because I've said that at least 5 times now. You do not need to fill out the application if you are going to be a member next year and you are already been applied, and I don't know what the word is. Approved, I don't know. If you've already been chosen for the Youth Commission, you don't need to apply again. We know who you are, what you're about. We don't need you to tell us what school you go to, but we do want to meet with you before we just go into another year blindly. One, to either say what went well this year, what we need to change to make your membership more worthwhile, and or for you to tell us what we can do better, because you are going to be the ones that we're going to look to lead the Youth Commission, because you're going to be there for your second year. So just be on the lookout for that. I just wanted to let you know about it before.
All right. Any questions on that?
Mark.
Mark had something.
It's kind of a side thing. Our board this past Thursday just voted to update our board membership to add a 12th and 13th position. And we are specifically looking for people 16 to 25 who would be interested in helping us determining our programs for the Jobs for Young Adults, Youth Court, the youth live streams, and the purchase of Forest Park, a little summer camp over on the east side of town where I used to do Topeka Haunted Woods. We're looking at picking up that land, but we'd love the opinion of a couple of young people. If anyone's interested, please let me know, and we'll get some interviews and we'll send you on into our committee as well.
Hey, Renee, can I talk about the youth court real fast?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, this isn't really new business. I'll make it really fast.
This is we're basically moving on to announcements right now. So
Okay. So, since Mark's here, I'm actually on youth court. I've been on it for about a year now. It's what, like, I don't really know how to explain it. So it's basically whenever we talk about youth court, I know he's brought it up a few times. It's just kids under, not kids, people under 18, like teens, who are getting like traffic violations, like accidents, like minor things that you'd have to go to court over. And I'm actually like an attorney. So you're not getting this huge, big adult attorney for your little small incident that you did as a kid. And if you go through youth court, I'm pretty sure it gets either off your record or something like that. So it's a really good program to go through. If you have like a ticket or anything like that, it's very disclosed. So like I'm a defense attorney. So if you were the one to get in trouble, I'd come talk to you and be like, I'm going to try to lower your sentence. Not really sentence, it's like a few community hours and then you're done. But we are always looking for, it's on Zoom for the last few months, but usually it's at the courthouse and it's really cool. And yeah, we get to just go over cases. And if you're wanting to be like pre-law, it's a good opportunity to like go into it and you'll literally be an attorney for someone. You can even prosecute. You can, if you're like old and like an adult, you can even be a judge and be a Washburn student. So that's all I wanted to say. So it's a really good opportunity and that's why he keeps talking about it, because it's awesome. So yeah, just, yeah.
Emma, thank you. I'm going to blush a little bit. If I can jump on real quick, Renee. So youth court, we do once a month. We're actually going to add a second date. We are only seeing traffic violations at this time. I am talking to the district attorney this Thursday and their office to start seeing other crimes like theft, any misdemeanors, anything that's non-sexual or non-violent in nature, to be eligible to see those kinds of cases in youth court. We are also looking at expanding to Douglas and Wyandotte counties within the next 2 years. We can always use jurors. After you've been a juror, you can get into being a lawyer and you can work with people as Emma's doing. And after 3 times of being a lawyer, you can become a judge. And then we do have some really nice connections into the Washburn Criminal Law Department and the law school that I've been building up over the past year. We've actually got a student working on her master's to do a research project taking a look at race and the sanctions that juries give to see if there's any trends that we need to be aware of, and any recidivism or returning to do a crime after they've done youth court. So we've got some neat things going on. Thank you so much for the shout out, Emma.
Awesome. We're on the announcement section. So you guys have anything else to add? Usually this is the time where we just get to talk.
I have some announcements. Sorry to butt in. Exec members who are on, if you have not called me yet, please do that over the next week. I have put my availability into the exec team group chat, and you can call me tomorrow. My availability did change. I won't be available until after 6 p.m. But other than that, please feel free to call me. on my personal number, por favor. And please do that by this Friday. Sooner the better. Oh, the Greater Topeka Partnership every month needs like they send out, it's called, I think, the partnership report, but basically it goes out to every Greater Topeka Partnership member plus some who are on their email list. And it is a really big, long binder, like broken down into every single thing that is a part of the Greater Topeka Partnership has a section in it. And the Youth Commission has had a section ever since we've joined them. Typically, I have just been really quickly doing one. Usually what I do is I copy and paste what Bryn does in the newsletter for that month and send it to them. However, seeing as I will be gone in a few months, I do want to start trying to pass on some of these responsibilities. So in April, it is not a shock. And so the Greater Topeka Partnership needs it by this Friday, as it is the end of January. So would somebody like to take that over for me, and I can kind of help you with it this week, and then you can do it from here on out. It would be helpful if you had access to the Youth Commission Gmail. So if you're an exec member and we're interested, but if you're just a member and you're interested, Lorraine is going to be checking the email and she can let you know when they need it as well. So is anybody interested in doing that? Preferably a member that'll be here after April. Somebody's got to take it. I got till 8.
Can you explain what it is again? Like just super short.
Yeah, so let me see if I can find last month's real quick. But basically, the Greater Topeka Partnership is a partnership. It's an organization, but it's a bunch of organizations that are all together. And so as a organization who gets money from a lot of different places, they supply everybody with what they're doing in a given month. Let me see if I can find it.
So we just have to like report to them telling if like what we're doing.
Kind of, yeah, basically. So here, I'll show you November's. So where did my Zoom go? There we go. Can you all see that now? So it looks like this. It comes, so this was November's. You download it and it is this big, some people will actually read every part of this. I've never actually read, but so like every single part, every single thing that is involved in the partnership has a section. So I go to Topeka, visit Topeka, here's ours, Forge, Leadership Greater Topeka, Choose Topeka, you get the point, but every single piece of the partnership that makes up the partnership has a section. The Youth Commission has our section, and so every month we have to basically say, what did we do in the month of January? And so in November, we were
It's like a big
announcing
newsletter.
Yeah, but you want to keep it pretty short. This is like the longest it can be.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So Emma, we just need it by, and you have access to the Gmail. So we just need it by Friday, before Friday.
Okay, so do you just want me to email like all the exec, or not email, like text all the exec team and then just be like, yo, like I need this report?
Yeah, either way.
Okay.
Just as long as it gets done before Friday, and then they have already sent an email to the Youth Commission email asking for it. So you can just reply. Her name is Jensen, who does it every month. You can just reply to her when you have it done.
Okay, cool.
And then text the exec team group chat that you have it done, so that way we can cross it off of our list of things that we need to do.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Any more announcements?
Oh, yes, sorry. If you are interested in becoming a committee chair next year, please reach out to that respective committee chair. So if you're interested in doing government, reach out to Renee. If you're interested in outreach, reach out to Emma. If you're interested in community involvement, reach out to Mackenzie. If you're interested in social media, reach out to Bryn. And if you're interested in finance, reach out to Elaine. But please reach out to your respective chair that you're interested in so they can start to take you under their wing and so we can make a successful transition in April. That is all.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so for like new recruitment, does that mean that like the people on the TYC now can like change to what subcommittees they're in then? Or are we like staying on the same ones, if that makes sense?
Everything will reset in March. So if you want to be chair again, you can run for chair, but it's not guaranteed. If you want to switch chair, you can switch chair, but you have to battle whoever else wants it. And if you are currently in 3 subcommittees and you want to make 3 different ones or take 2 or whatever, you can do that. But it all happens in March, and that'll be part of the meeting, continuing member meetings that we need to have.
All right, any more announcements? I see none. Bryce, do you want to close out this meeting if you have any more notes to add, or is that it?
I'm good.
Awesome. All right. So I now call to adjourn this meeting. Time is 7:40. That's it. All right. Thanks everyone for coming to the meeting. Expect Lorraine to be leading the next one in February, and that's it.
Good
See you
job,
guys.
Renee.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Emma.